Well, that didn't go according to plan, did it? Right, so I've got the plate underneath it that's going to go there. It's all welded up now, so the only thing now I need to do is bolt that back in place. Quite pleased with how that turned out. I've also fitted a handle to the door so that can be opened, and I've riveted a set of hinges to it. So all I need to do now is weld these hinges to the rest of the tank, and that is the door pretty much finished. I have got these locks, not entirely sure at the moment how I'm going to fit them. If this door had been flat, I could have just fitted them like that and had that against the rest of the tank, just to, or that way around, just to close the door shut. But obviously the door is about 5 centimeters thicker than the rest of the tank, so I'm going to have to sort something out, but I'll probably mount it like that and then lift this up slightly from the edge of the tank. But I'll get the door fitted first and then I'll sort that out afterwards. Right, well, I've got the door welded in. I've just welded a couple of welds there and a couple there, but I'm having a slight problem now. I've had to take away quite a bit of the insulation there to get this wide door, and it still doesn't quite open properly, so I still need to take away more insulation from there to get this big thick door to open. I'm also getting the fact that I don't know whether I can get that on camera, that it's not quite sealing the way I wanted it to against the frame. It's not quite bent enough as it should be. So what I'm thinking now is that if I take all these rivets out, then I'll be able to get rid of the outer skin and the insulation and just have a sheet steel door, rather than trying to insulate that door, because it's a nightmare trying to insulate that door. Obviously the handle I can move and replace it there. I mean, it does open a fair bit, but if I'm going to try and get something in there, it's going to be a bit of a pain in the neck. So I did want this door to be insulated really, but I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. The amount of insulation I'm having to kind of take away on this side is quite a lot I've took away. So the amount I'm taking away there to get the door to open, is to get this insulated door in the way, is it's not really worth it, I don't think. So unfortunately, I quite like this door. I quite like the fact that it was insulated and it will do the job and it'll hold it nice and warm and stuff, but I think it's going to be too much of a pain in the arse really to have it there. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to test it anyway. It's just a matter of undoing these rivets. So I will, yeah, that's what I'm going to do, I think. Undo that and go from there, basically. Shame, but there you go. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Okay, so I've got the latches in place there, welded in nicely. I've also welded up all of the old rivet holes, so I'll grind them off nice and neatly a little bit later on. But now we can see the door, when it locks, it pulls it in quite nice and tight actually. Tighter than what I was planning on, to be honest. That's quite sealed. It's a bit of a slight gap on the back edge here, but I've got some sealer to put in there. Up the top here, that's sealed quite nicely actually, but I have got some thinner sealer here. It's like a thin rope, about 2mm thick, that I'll put in there. The bottom seems about the same. It goes quite tight across there. This edge is tighter than the other side, but again, I might need some thicker sealer in there, unless I can bend that edge around slightly, but I'll see what I can do with it. But yeah, I think I'm quite happy with that as it is now. I did really want this to be insulated, but it isn't. So I'll be able to weld a handle on here so that I can open the door there. I'll be able to put the sealer around the door there and make sure that it's sealed. And then, oh, they are quite tight actually. It does seal it quite well. Then I've got the inside of here to weld. So that plate I'm going to fit back together again. Those holes are going to get welded up. And then I'm going to fit the bars in the roof here and the ones down the sides down there for the grates to go across. Then it's about ready for testing, really, I think. Let's crack on with some welding then. Well, I've had a bit of a change of plan again. This time it's more for safety reasons, so let me show you what I'm looking at. So the door's all welded on now, and all the hooks and everything are all welded on, things like that. But I did notice when welding that this insulation does catch fire really quickly. I don't think, well, in fact I know it doesn't because I tested it, that it doesn't catch fire if you just heat it to like 200 degrees or something like that, but heating it with molten metal definitely made this thing catch fire. It's only gone a couple of spots like that. It's not a huge amount that I've had. I've had a couple of bits, and I've been able to just kind of put my hand on it and it stopped burning. So it's not been a huge problem. I've welded those holes up at the bottom, but the plan was to weld here some bars on either side, so I could put some racks in here, and I was even planning on putting some bars in the roof there to hang things on. Well, I'm not going to do that. This thing is covered in in this insulation here. If I start welding on the side here, it's going to set fire to the whole thing, and I'm going to have a big massive problem with the whole thing burning to the ground. So my new plan is these hooks. What I can do with these now, I've put some big meaty, what are these, 7.6mm hooks, and I can drill a hole straight through the roof and thread these hooks straight into the top of the thing there. I bought some slightly smaller ones here. These ones are just 6mm, and those ones I can put in the sides there, perhaps 2 on either side, and I can put some bars across the side there and make myself a little platform to put brake drums and stuff like that on it. But it's definitely a hell of a lot safer than setting fire to this whole thing. So there you go, another change of plan. Okay, so this has now got the heating element nicely riveted in. Got the rivets in the sides there, so that holds that element in place. Not looking too bad actually, I think. So that's alright, that now sits there. It's got the 2 wires now running into it, which go to the switch. The panel's now fitted to the side. That switch I can get rid of. And basically, when I put it to one of these settings, it's going to make the heating element heat up. I did just notice, I was still planning on connecting it 3-phase, but I just realised that this isn't even connected 3-phase. It's got the live there, and the neutral there, and the earth, and the other phase isn't even connected. So it's still connected to 2-phase, which means I only need 220 volt on it, so that was a bit easier. I don't know why I was thinking 3-phase, but there you go. So what I basically need to do now is get a box fitted to the side of here, where I can put all these cables into the box and then take a cable out of it and put a plug on the end of it and basically plug it in the wall, and that should start to heat up. So all I need to do now is put the sealer around the whole door there and put a handle on the outside of there, and it's ready for testing. Oh, and I've put the thermostat in there as well, so it's just got a little hole going out there and it just goes up the side there. So yeah, I just need a connection box, piece of cable and a plug, and I'm ready to go. I would have started off by putting this panel there. I thought it was just easier, just put the original connectors there and the original panel there, but I'm not happy with it, so I did that instead. It's a nice little box fitted to the side of it. It's got the 230 mains feed coming out of there. The cables going to the heating element are there.
And underneath here, there is the cable, is the wire for the thermostat.
So everything is now connected in. Red and a black wire there. The thermostat goes up in there. And I'll put the thermostat there. So it's quite high up, so it reads when that's at the right temperature. Right, I think it's time to test this now then. It's all plugged in down there, ready to go. I've shut the doors at the moment. I've put this sealer around the door. It's like a rope, a heat resistant rope around the door just to keep the heat in. So once I've tested this, I'll be able to shut the door again and make sure it dries properly, the glue. But here we've got the temperature, so if I turn that, I should be able to turn it up to like 200 degrees, like that. And then this is connected to the bottom oven part, that one, but it'll also work on that one, or it should do. So we'll see. Yep, it lights up, and then we can test what we've got, some temperature in there. Well, it's going up nice and quickly. That, ladies and gentlemen, works. I'm not going to heat it up much more than that at the moment because I want to let this glue dry, but proof of concept, it definitely works. Yep, I can feel it. It definitely works. Right, I'm going to leave that glue to dry now so that seals properly. And then I can start with the powder coating process. So join me in my next video, and yeah, we'll see how the powder coating goes. We'll test it now properly, putting something in there, we'll powder coat it, and we'll see what it looks like when it comes out. So if you like what you've seen, press that subscribe button, join me in my next video, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.